Good morning, Villa fans, and welcome to a match reaction video for last night's game. Aston Villa 2, Maccabi Tel Aviv 0. I'm also going to talk about the Bournemouth game as well. So obviously a quick turnaround in our games on Sunday in the Premier League. But yeah, let's talk about the last night's game first of all. And obviously all the attention and media attention was geared towards sort of off the field kind of protests going on ahead of kickoff. From what I saw when I was kind of following it, leading up to kickoff and all that sort of stuff, it was largely a quiet, non-eventful kind of protest, really. There wasn't many. I think there's about 5 or 6 arrests and things like that, but for sort of minor offences and things like that. So it all went kind of well on that side. Obviously, put a lot of fans off sort of going to the game, which is why we saw a lot of empty seats at Villa. But you can't really blame people that, especially that they come with their family and children and elderly, relatives and parents and things like that. Then, you've got to take into account sort of safety first and all that sort of stuff. But moving on to the game, team lineup wise for Villa, Unai Emery talked about respecting the competition and focusing on the games and taking it a lot more kind of seriously. And I think we saw that from the lineup. He did make a couple of changes here. Lindelof coming in at right back to begin with. Maatsen continuing to play at left back in the Europa League. Had no choice but to play Konsa and Powell together at centre back, really. Bogarde coming back in at CDM, and I thought he was really good, and I'll come on to him in a moment. Sancho getting the nod at left sort of wing. Guessand getting on the right wing, and I'll come on to him as well. Morgan Rogers in the 10, obviously undroppable. And then Malen played up front, so giving Ollie Watkins, Matty Cash, those sorts of players a bit of a rest. And it was good to see Youri Tielemans on the bench and coming on and giving us a little bit of what we know he can. So in terms of the performance, first sort of 10 minutes of the game, we were a little bit sloppy. I think we lost the ball a few times. Morgan Rogers in particular started quite loosely in the game. However, he did become our main kind of threat and our main player in that first half. It was largely forgetful, really. There wasn't much going on until there was like a flurry of chances within sort of the space of 3 minutes where, Rogers has a little mazy dribble in the box and, his keeper sort of denies him. Then he pops one in from sort of long range, which just whistles over the crossbar. And then Malen has that little chance as well, which is saved by the goalkeeper. So there was like a 3-minute spell where Villa sort of, up the ante a little bit, moved through the gears a little bit, but more or less the first half was played in sort of first gear, really. It was like a friendly testimonial kind of vibe, maybe because of the atmosphere as well, but there wasn't much going on the pitch to excite people. If anything, I thought Maccabi Tel Aviv probably had the 2 best chances or clear chances. One was a shot which kind of deflected and the ball spanned just wide. And then the other one was a clear opportunity where their left backs got forward. Revivo put the ball into, I think it's Dorperitz. He's only got Martinez to beat, but Martinez does make a good save. That really should have been a goal. So that was the only kind of, big chances in the first half. And then as it's going towards a goalless first half, Villa do get the opening goal, sort of, I think it was in the 47th minute, where it's combination play on the left-hand side between Rogers, Sancho, back to Rogers. Rogers then puts a ball in behind to Maatsen, who's made a good, run off the ball. And from what seemed like an impossible angle, because it looked like it was going to be a cut back or, a cross or something, he manages to get the ball past the goalkeeper's anticipating a cross or a pull back, and it kind of comes forward off his line. And then Maatsen manages to find this gap between the keeper and the goal, hits the underside of the bar and sort of crashes into the back of the net. And I think we were feeling a lot more happy at 1-0 up rather than going at sort of goalless, because then that would have been a different kind of feeling to the second half. So Maatsen giving us the lead. I thought he played well enough. Players that I thought stood out for me were definitely Lamar Bogarde playing in the CDM position, and even when he got moved to right back, I thought he did really well as well. And then players who kind of disappointed me. Again, and I don't like to pick out players, but Evan Guessand for me is week by week proving to me that he's not cut out for this level of football. Even when he gets the ball, the body shape is wrong. Doesn't seem to have any confidence to sort of take on his man. I just want to see him try doing that. He's putting a lot of effort defensively. And this reminds me of when Newcastle signed Joe Linton a few years ago. They signed him as a striker from the Bundesliga, but I think they quickly realized that he wasn't really made out for the Premier League as a striker, and then sort of converted him into a centre midfield player. And he's a very, very good centre midfield player, and utilising his sort of attributes in other positions. I mean, Guessand, for me, doesn't have any attributes that say to me that he's a winger. He doesn't have, like, his first touch is not brilliant. Doesn't seem to have confidence. His way that he's receiving the ball is not the right way. And maybe he's someone that can be converted into a different position, perhaps, a right back or something, because he seems to be better defensively. I mean, I've heard of attacking wingers, but I've never heard of a defensive winger. And that's what Evan Guessand seems to be for me. Maybe he's like a wing back. Maybe that's his natural callings, to become a wing back and play, in that kind of formation. But for me, he's not a winger. As I said, I think we've weakened ourselves in that position. I mean, I said in a video recently, I'd rather take Leon Bailey back than have Evan Guessand playing on the right at the moment. He just looks to me like not a very good buy. I think Emery is, persevering with him because he is a permanent signing. It's obviously something that Emery has kind of rubber stamped and given his approval on, and he wants to save a bit of pride himself, and wants to sort of maybe play him and maybe get the odd performance here and there. But from what we've seen, from what the eye test sees, 10 games into the season, he does not look anywhere near this level of footballer. So that's for me. I mean, Jadon Sancho had little bits of moments here and there, but very fleeting moments in the game. Again, I just want my, maybe I'm old-fashioned in my thinking. I just want my wingers and wide players to be able to go past players and, use a bit of skill, a bit of trickery, drop the shoulder, get a cross in, something. Just get me on the edge of my seat. I'm not. When I watch Jadon Sancho, I'm not. I don't really see it. I don't see us making the signing permanent in any way. And yeah, even though he's linking up with Maatsen on the left-hand side here and there, it needs to be more. For the player that he is, for the reputation that he has or had, that he needs to show more for me. We obviously had like Rashford in last season who really ignited the team. And, I'm not saying Sancho is the same level as Rashford because he's nowhere near. But I was expecting a little bit more from Jadon Sancho, even though he's had limited appearances in game time. Just want him to drive the fullback. I mean, that's what I remember Jadon Sancho doing, especially in the heydays of Borussia Dortmund. That was his thing. Get the ball, 1v1 against a defender, go past him, skill, jinking in and out, get shots off, get crosses in, get to the byline. That was his thing. And I haven't seen his thing here in a Villa shirt in these opening sort of few appearances that he's made. So yeah, just a little bit sort of disappointed in what I saw there. And obviously we didn't see Harvey Elliott again from the bench. I think that one has run its race. I think he'll be being recalled by Liverpool, or will end his loan spell 1st of January. I think he'll head back. I think what's happened there, in my opinion, is that I think it was 99% that Emi Buendia was going to be out the door before the transfer window shut. I think there was, transfers maybe lined up for him that didn't happen for whatever reason. And then it's almost like, well, we've got Emi Buendia and we've still got Harvey Elliott. And Emi Buendia has knuckled down and he's outperformed Harvey Elliott in maybe training situations, maybe obviously in the game situations, he definitely has. And it's almost like, well, Harvey Elliott and Emi Buendia are very similar like players in terms of their positional, and very in terms of stature as well. So do we go with the tried and trusted permanent player in Buendia, or do we try to play Harvey Elliott, trigger the 10-game appearance clause, and then have to pay 35 million for a player that is, not really in our strongest starting 11? So that's where I think it's gone with Harvey Elliott, and I don't think there's no point in him playing games if you're not going to keep him long term. You're just going to, he's just going to take someone else's place in the team. And we've got 10s. We've got Emi Buendia. We've talked about John McGinn. We've talked about Malen playing as a second striker. Rodgers obviously plays there as well. There are various options of Sancho can play in there as well. There are so many options that are ahead of him at the moment. So there's no point wasting 35 million on Harvey Elliott if he's going to be like 6th or 7th choice in your number 10 ranking. If Tielemans can play there, Barkley can play there as well. So that's where I think it's going with Harvey Elliott. Unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out, and I think it is the Emi Buendia re-emergence, and the fact that he had maybe a failed transfer at the last minute to go out. Maybe he was due to go out on loan somewhere or permanent somewhere, and that fell through. And Buendia has just knuckled down, and it's just like, well, we don't need to waste 35 million on Harvey Elliott. That's all it can be, because if he's not getting off the bench against Maccabi Tel Aviv and getting any minutes here, then that really, really does show you where we are with this. And I'm sure that he's a great lad, and there's no problems on a personal point of view, but it's this contractual clauses. 10 appearances triggers a permanent deal. And I think with the SCR and PSR and all that sort of stuff going on, Emery's probably looking at it and thinking, I can't afford to waste 35 million on a player who's going to be 5th or 6th choice in that position that I've already got loads of players ahead of him. So that's where we are with Harvey Elliott, I think. But yeah, that's where we are with him. But yeah, I mean, Villa getting a goal to wrap up the game sort of just on the hour mark, penalty. I thought personally it wasn't a penalty. If that's a penalty given against Villa, I'm fuming. I think Consul, he goes down very late. There isn't a real kind of challenge from the Maccabi player to, he didn't put a leg out. He didn't sort of hold him back or anything. I'm not sure kind of what it was really. It was a delayed reaction and a delayed decision from the referee as well. I mean, he was literally like looking over to his linesman and asking him, and his linesman was like, well, I don't know. So it was like the VAR looked at it and gave it in our favour. And I'll be honest, when the penalty was given, I was 50-50 and thinking, do we actually want this? Do we need this? Who's going to step up and score this? And then obviously, Rodgers was holding on to the ball initially, then passes it to our designated penalty taker, as John McGinn called him, Daniel Malen. And credit to Malen, it's a really, really good penalty, low and hard into the corner, lots of power. And yeah, it's 2-0. Game is kind of wrapped up by that point. And yeah, we're comfortable in the game. And I think Maccabi had a chance, was it just after that or just before that, where Emi Martinez had to make a save from Dorperitz when he's literally one-on-one with him, eyeball to eyeball at the penalty spot area. So it was a crucial moment, that save from Emi Martinez. But Marlon, yeah, puts away the penalty. As soon as we get a penalty now, if he's not on the pitch, I think we have to make that sub. I think we have to do the sort of the NFL style and bring on sort of particular kickers, because there's no one else in our lineup who can take penalties now. So Daniel Malen, if he's on the bench and we win a penalty, just sub him on before the penalty and let him take it. That's what I would say. But yeah, 2-0, coasting, I suppose. The game turned into a bit of a testimonial, friendly kind of level game. I think it was just all about getting the players some minutes. Tielemans coming on and within 30 seconds puts a lovely ball in behind for Marlon. And just with Tielemans there, just controlling midfield, the way that he was able to, find space, move the ball forward, progress it forward. With Onana and Bogarde, no disrespect, they're probably more kind of ball winners than progressors of the ball. But with Tielemans and Kamara, there's a nice balance there. Kamara can be the ball winner, but he can also play. And then Tielemans is definitely that one that needs to play. I've heard people say that, we can play Tielemans in the 10. We can play him more advanced and keep Onana and Kamara as the double pivot. Absolutely not. In my opinion, Youri Tielemans is not a number 10. He needs to play with the game and going on in front of him. And he needs to play in that double pivot. If you play him as a 10, he's going to play with the game, a lot of it with his back to goal, being closed down quite a lot. I think he's a player who you need to unlock defenses and put passes through, like that through ball that he did for Marlon. That is prime Youri Tielemans in the 6 for me. So that's where I feel about Youri Tielemans. But yeah, so 2-0, comfortable, really just fizzled out the game. And I think we just wanted to prevent any injuries and get people to run out and get some minutes. Takes, people like Powell off. Cash got a good rest. Morgan Rogers got a rest as well when he came off. So, resting some players. I was hopeful that Ollie Watkins could get a goal just to get his confidence up, but didn't really have that many chances. There was one chance towards the end where he's kind of put through, but I think it was like a heavy touch or something like that, and the keeper gets to it before he does. But yeah, just it fizzled out. I mean, we could have easily gone through the gears and gone to 3 and 4 and maybe 5-0 if we really, really wanted to. But I just get the feeling it was about preserving and getting ready for Bournemouth, which is fine. But yeah, it would have been nice to get maybe a couple of more goals and add a bit more gloss to the scoreline. And who knows if goal difference is going to play a part in things going forward. So anyway, but guys, we've got Bournemouth on Sunday. Just having a quick look at them. So Bournemouth currently are in 5th position in the Premier League. They've scored 17, conceded 14, 7 points off Arsenal, who are in top position. Last 5 games, just recently, they've lost 3-1 to Man City. Tyler Adams scoring for them. Then they beat Nottingham Forest 2-0, Tavernier and Krupi. Then it was a 3-3 draw against Palace, 2 from Krupi and 1 from Ryan Christie. I think that was in the 90th minute, but then Mateta got a 95th minute equaliser for them as well. So, and then they got a 3-1 win against Fulham, where Semenyo has got 2 and Kluivert got 1. And then there was a 2-2 draw with Leeds, where Semenyo and Krupi again amongst the goals. So Krupi at the moment is the guy on form, the striker. He's a young, I think he's from Ivory Coast. I'm not too sure, but he's got 4 goals in his last 5 games. Evan Nilsson, who's their normal striker, is out injured at the moment, so he's the one who sort of steps up into that centre forward position. Antoine Semenyo, we all know about. He's in my fantasy team. Really good player. 3 goals in the last 5, 6 goals in total for the season. Top goal scorer for them. He is the danger man. So he is someone that we need to be man marking in this game. He kind of runs the show. Big, powerful runner, similar to what Morgan Rogers does for us. Semenyo is that player for Bournemouth. And he's come on a lot. I mean, he's really, really improved and really impressed me in the last few years. And yeah, definitely a player that, you know, I'd like to see at Villa if we could get him, but you know, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I said Evan Nilsson out injured for Bournemouth, which is a good thing because I think he's scored a couple of goals against us in recent years. But we've got to look out for this guy Krupi, who they recently bought in the summer. So a good bit of business from them. Iraola, terrific manager for me. You know, I think he'll go on to bigger and better things eventually. And yeah, Bournemouth are a very organised outfit. You know, similar to kind of Emery, wants to get everything kind of possession based. You know, wants his defenders to play out from the back as well. And obviously, they've lost quite a few players. You know, they've sold Zubani and Husseini, and I think there's a couple of other players that they've had to let go as well. So the fact that they've rebuilt and they're still in like 5th in the Premier League after 10 games is really good testament to Bournemouth. And you know, really good team, really good club. You know, obviously watching them over the years, sort of progress through the leagues, nearly went out of business, and nearly went through extinction as well. And to see them where they are now and doing really well, nice new stadium, good club. But you know, obviously, I'm hoping for a Villa win on Sunday. My score prediction for the game. I'm going to go for a tight 2-1 win to Aston Villa, just because it's at Villa Park as well, and we've had some rested players in there. I think Ollie Watkins will score. He seems to have a good record against Bournemouth, and I'm going to go Morgan Rogers as well. So 2-1 Villa, Watkins and Rogers amongst the goals. Yeah, let me know your score predictions, guys, in the comments. You know, team lineup wise, I mean, it's going to be pretty much the same. Whether Digne or Maatsen play left back, I'm not too sure, but probably go with Maatsen with the confidence that he's got from this game. So maybe start with him. On the left back, I think Kamara should start at CDM, probably with maybe Onana in there as well. Tielemans off the bench, perhaps. And then further forward, I mean, this is where it gets tricky. I think McGinn needs to play. Rogers needs to play. Probably play with Sancho as well. And then Watkins up top. So Guessand for me on the bench. Malen again from the bench, perhaps. And we'll go sort of that way. But yeah, let me know. Do you want to see Marlon start? Do you think he's now, you know, confident, got a pen, played relatively well? Does he deserve to play? Or do we go with Ollie Watkins? Guessand, you know, what's the thinking there? For me, I think maybe a player to come off the bench for the last 5-10 minutes of games, perhaps, just to see out sort of games, but not really sort of starting games just yet. And maybe that might do better for his confidence rather than being sort of taken off all the time. Maybe coming on and having a positive impact, maybe sort of fresh legs in the last 10 minutes, getting a goal, getting an assist for him might be the best thing for him. But guys, yeah, let me know your thoughts on everything there I've talked about. Please do like, subscribe. Let's go for a like target of 20 for this video. Subscribe if you're new. We get a lot of viewers, but like I said, 90% of you are not subscribed. So smash a subscribe, smash a like, comment your thoughts on the game from last night, comment your thoughts on what's going to happen against Bournemouth as well. I'm going for a 2-1 win. Let me hear yours. All right. Take care until the Sunday afternoon, I'll do an instant match reaction, team lineup, and all that sort of jazz as well. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.